You ready? Yeah. All right. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Narragansett Town Council regular meeting, August 16th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. If everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to start with just a quick update on the Town Hall COVID policy. So we're following the same policy that the CDC recommends. We have the signage on the doors, which is for anyone vaccinated, no mask required. For anyone unvaccinated, we do require a mask. I'm wearing mine tonight just because I had a little stomach bug over the weekend. I apologize for the muffled voice, but we'll try to get through that. So we're going to start with the disclosure of executive session votes from this evening. We had a motion to retire to executive session of the Town Council in accordance with Rhode Island General Laws 4246-4 and 4246-5A2 to review all pending litigation. Motion by Susan Cicilline-Bonanno, seconded by Ever Drzezinski. All in favor, unanimous. We also had a motion to seal the minutes. Motion by Councilor Cicilline-Bonanno, seconded by Councilor Drzezinski. That was approved 5-0. And a motion to adjourn and reconvene in public session by Councilor Cicilline-Bonanno, seconded by Councilor Drzezinski. Motion approved 5-0. Next, we have the approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the June 14th, 2021 work session minutes?
I'll move the motion.
Is there a
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Drzezinski. All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion approved 5-0. Do we have a motion to approve the June 21st, 2021 regular meeting minutes?
I'll move the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Next, we have the approval of minutes for the July 16th, 2021 executive session. Is there a motion?
I'll move the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved 5-0. I'd also like to take a moment of silence for a longtime Narragansett resident, Jim McDonald, who passed away on July 24th of last month. He was a URI police officer for 31 years and a longtime resident here in town. So we can take a quick moment of silence, please. Thank you. Next, we have our announcements and presentations. We're going to start with a presentation recognizing the life-saving efforts during the blessing of the fleet, and I'm going to hand this off to our town manager, Jim Tierney.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening, first of all, I'd like to welcome everyone who's here today for this portion of the agenda. This evening, we'll be recognizing members of the Narragansett Fire Department and the Narragansett Beach Surf Rescue for their life-saving efforts that basically brought a young man back to life after collapsing from a sudden cardiac event during the Blessing of the Fleet road race. As a result of their swift and heroic efforts, that man, Philip Gingras, and his family are with us this evening. We're so happy that he could be with us and so happy that his family still has him. I'm going to introduce Narragansett Fire Department Chief Scott Poddington to tell us about what happened that frightening day. And when he gets time to present the awards, we're going to ask the council to come down to greet the recipients and the family. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Jim. Mr. President, members of the council, I'm really honored and privileged to have a few minutes to speak about this. It's a terrific story. I just want to give you a little bit of the backstory to this. As you know, the Blessing of the Fleet is a very, very popular event in town. After a 2-year absence, we finally got to it and started having the Blessing of the Fleet road race again. We were all very eager to have this race. It traditionally brings out thousands of people into our community. Well, following the 2-year absence, more than 2,200 runners and walkers eagerly participated in this very popular road race again this year. And again, we look forward to it. A lot of planning goes into this race, but it's the kind of planning we look forward to. A lot of coordinating between public safety, police, fire, EMS, EMA, as well as DPW. DPW does a tremendous amount of work helping to support this event. We all work very well together. The Rhode Island EMA is involved with this. The Rhode Island DMAT, the Disaster Medical Assistance Team for the state, is also involved in this. They bring down a field medical hospital. We have a command center that's established. So we do a lot of planning with this. Part of what we do is to utilize these medical gators that we deploy out in the field. And we recently expanded that operation to include four medical gators out in the field. And they're equipped with well-trained firefighters, EMTs, as well as equipment. And we mix in other volunteers, DMAT volunteers who help, as well as the Narragansett Surf Rescue members, the lifeguards who come in and help. So a lot of people help coordinate this and participate in this event. And it's a very, very popular and well-attended event. So I can, as part of what I do, I help to assign those gators in those different areas or zones. And again, we have 4 of them. And I can remember assigning firefighter Krista Demers to, firefighter Krista Dubowski to his gator along Zone 4, which runs along Ocean Road, mile marker 3. I remember telling him, don't worry about that zone, nothing happens, nothing's ever happened there. Something did happen there. It's quite a story. So during this event, we received a call into the command center, which we stationed over by the gazebo area. So we have a command post along with the actual field hospital that's established for this. A call came in for a male down, unresponsive, not breathing, and in cardiac arrest. Something that we've planned for, we prepare for, but we have yet to experience it at any time that I know of during the history of this race. At least it was the first for me in 30 years being here. So we responded, and I'm very proud to say that our first units arrived very quickly. Philip, the man seating behind me, collapsed suddenly, went into cardiac arrest, and we had medical team on him very quickly, recognized this life-altering arrhythmia, defibrillated him, and were able to revive him quite quickly. So we're very pleased about all the actions that those who are involved, and we thought it was very, very appropriate to recognize that. And we're very fortunate to have Philip and his family here this evening. He's here with his wife, his 2 twin sons, boys, who you can hear right behind me, and that's okay, and along with his mother. I had asked them to make the trip down here, and they were more than gracious to want to come. They were very eager to recognize the events that occurred, and Philip wanted to thank all those involved personally himself. So with that, we have a few recognitions, certificates that we'd like to present. I think what I'll do is just call the firefighters up and those involved, if they can come up. And Jim, if I could have someone maybe assist me with these certificates to be able to hand out, that would be good. Mr. President? I've got them right in order, Jesse. So each one of these. Right? Thank you very much. Okay, so well, thank you. The first one I'd like to call up is firefighter Krista Demers. Firefighter Chris Dubowski. Sorry, Chris and Chris. Too many Chris's. Chris was along medical gator number 3. He was the first EMS unit to arrive on scene in gator 3. He, along with his partner, initiated CPR, called for additional assistance, identified this life-threatening rhythm, and was able to revive our gentleman right behind us. So congratulations. Chris is being awarded the commendation. Thank you, Chris. Chris will be awarded the combination bar as well as certificate for the work that he's done, and terrific job. Next we have a team. Next we have a team of Lieutenant Charles Lacoste and Aubrey Blanchette. If you'd like to both come up, please. Lieutenant Lacoste and Firefighter Blanchette were on Rescue 2. Again, not only the Gators do we stage there, but we also stage rescues throughout the course. They happen to be on one of those rescues. That was Rescue 2 down in that south zone. They were assigned to that Rescue 2 for the race detail along with partner Aubrey Blanchette. They responded to the scene, assisted with post-resuscitation care, provided additional treatment, and transported the patient to the receiving hospital, which is South County Hospital. Terrific work. Congratulations. Unit combination for both Lieutenant Lacoste and Firefighter Aubrey. Thank you. Good job. Next, we have Lieutenant Chris Demers. There we are. I got to you finally, Chris. Along with probationary firefighter Thomas Boyer, who's not present this evening. Lieutenant Christopher Demers, he was assigned to his regular shift that evening on Engine 2. Again, not detailed for the race, but responded with Engine 2 to the scene on request for additional resources, provided additional post-resuscitation efforts, and prepared the patient for transport with Rescue 2 to the hospital. Again, for both of them, unit commendation. Congratulations to both of them for their efforts as well. Next, we have firefighter Dominic Palseno. Dominic, I know you're hiding somewhere in that crowd. Come on up. Dominic Palseno, firefighter Dominic Palseno was on Gator number 4. He responded to the scene along with Gator 3, assisted crews in post-resuscitation efforts, care, treatment, and packaging of the patient for transport. Dom, terrific work along with your partner. Unit combination for Dominic. Congratulations. Not only did we have firefighters involved, we also had volunteers, well, participants who were running in the race, one of which happened to be Diane McKeith. Diane McKeith is a registered nurse practitioner. She's also a medical provider to the Narragansett Fire Department. In fact, she just worked on one of our firefighters today over some kind of incident. Yep, thank you, Diane. Diane's also an avid runner. She happened to be participating in the race, and she happened to come upon this event. She was actually one of the first people, bystanders, to start rendering aid for Philip while he was down. It was quite an experience for her. I know she was very overwhelmed with this, and we thank Diane for all her efforts, and thank you for stopping. So we are offering, we are recognizing Diane and presenting her with the EMS Chain of Survival Certificate. Just to let you know about the EMS Chain of Survival Certificate, it's an EMS Chain of Survival recognition given to a member or civilians for significant accomplishments or actions given. The nominees effectively initiated or contributed to an outstanding provision of EMS or demonstrated sustained effort to implement a protocol or advances for patient care to a high degree of professionalism and compassion. So thank you for your involvement in all that, and congratulations on your certificate of recognition. Philip, it happened to be fate for you, because also a participant in that race was one of our very own Lieutenant Kevin McHenry. Lieutenant McHenry happened to be a runner in that race, came up shortly after Diane did. Kevin is a lieutenant with our department, but he's also our EMS coordinator. A lot of the standards and professionalism that he insists upon in the training comes not only from myself, but it is driven by Kevin. He does terrific work with the department, and thank you for all that. So again, Kevin, thank you for stopping. He was also running in the race, as I said. He assisted the crews that were there with their treatment, confirmed what they were seeing on the monitor, and helped to reaffirm the care that they were providing. And then went on his way to finish and complete the race along with Diane. So, Kevin, thank you for all your help. EMS Chain of Survival Certificate of Recognition for you. Thank you again. I have just three others that I'd like to recognize, one of which is Nicholas Linekrey. Nicholas, if you'd like to come up, please. Nicholas is one of those volunteers that I spoke about who works for Alan DMAT. So not only does he work for Alan DMAT, but he's also a new probationary firefighter for the town of Portsmouth. Congratulations on that, Nicholas. Nicholas has been very involved with DMAT. He has been at quite a few of our Blessing of the Fleet Road races. However, this time we put him to use on one of the gators, and I believe he was teamed up with firefighter Chris Dubowski on gator number 3 during the event, along with the next individual. So again, he helped to assist in the resuscitation efforts. Thank you for all your work and following instructions on what you were being told to go fetch and bring to you, and great work. So congratulations to Nicholas, EMS Chain of Survival Certificate of Recognition. Thank you, Nicholas. Next, we also have members of the Narragansett Surf Rescue Team, who I'm very proud to say thank you to. First of all, I'll call you both up together, if you like. Brian Guadagno and Dave Pizzulo. Is Dave here? Dave, sorry, Dave. Yep. Sorry, Dave. Thank you, Dave. So Brian also was involved with the resuscitation efforts, along with Dave Pizzulo. Again, we've coordinated efforts not only with firefighters in DMAT and other volunteers, but the Narragansett Surf Rescue. They have a terrific squad over there. We work very, very well together. We play very well together. And over the years, we've incorporated them into a lot of our planning efforts for some of these large events, particularly the Blessing of the Fleet Road Race. So they were both teamed up with members of our firefighters on the Gators. They did a terrific job assisting in resuscitation efforts and supporting all those activities that were involved with that. We'd really like to recognize both of you, Brian and Dave, for your efforts, and thank you very much. With that, we are presenting you with an EMS Chain of Survival Certificate of Recognition as well. Congratulations to both of you. Okay, with that, we had other members, but they were unable to make it. Again, thank you, Mr. President, for all your time that you allowed me here. Yep, yeah, he wasn't here. Yep. So, again, a great story. We want to wish Philip and his family the very best. We're so glad that everything worked out for you. You know, just spread the word. If you want to run a race, make sure you run it here in Narragansett, right? All right? All right, congratulations to both of you. All right, the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you to everyone on the fire department and everyone who volunteered and was there to help out. And it's great to see you here tonight as well. So thank you all. Congratulations. We are going to take a few minutes just to let the room clear out if anyone plans on leaving, and then we'll start back up in a couple minutes. So thank you.
I know.
I feel bad. I feel weird.
No, I was banging it up.
All right, welcome back. Next, under announcements, we have an update on the 4 unrelated ordinance enforcement from our town manager. Jim?
Good evening, everyone. The council has just asked me to provide a brief update on the ordinance affecting 4 unrelated residing in a dwelling. As you know, the 3-student ordinance was... The 3-student ordinance is no longer on the books, but there will be a public hearing on Wednesday to address that. But the 4 unrelated town ordinance, which limits the number of unrelated persons in a dwelling to 4, was enacted by the town in 2016. Town records indicate a total of 41 violations were issued during that time by the buildings official's office, and all 41 of them were dismissed by the town's municipal court. In October of 2020, the Narragansett Town Council directed the town to begin enforcing the ordinance via a resolution on or about September 1st of this year. Rental owners were notified that the 4 unrelated was a valid ordinance. The assistant solicitor advised the town that the town can enforce the 4 unrelated ordinance without violating the state constitution. So basically, absent a change of direction from the council or the solicitor, the town will begin enforcing the 4 unrelated ordinance on September 1st of this year, as previously directed by the town council. And mostly it'll be done the same way it was done in the past, based on a complaint-driven type process. And if you have any questions about it later, you can always call the office or email me or call me, and I'll see what I can do for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. All right, well, we're moving on to our open forum public comment portion of the meeting. So if anyone has anything they would like to speak on that is not on the agenda tonight, this is your time. Please raise your hand and we'll call on you, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes. All right? Go ahead and raise your hand. Mr. Vangermesh.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Please state your full name and address.
Yeah, my name is Richard Vangermersh. There is something here.
Hold on a second, Richard. I don't think we have the mic. Is the mic? It is going? Okay.
I mean, it's obviously not poisonous. Yeah, I've been an accountant since 1955, and I realize I speak a different language, different terms than the current council. Things like accounting and financial control, waste, project management, design, safety, risks, rewards, audits. These are not necessarily as recognizable as they used to be. I did it hoping that the library group was here. I thought that was on the agenda. What I heard last meeting was that the cost, and again, I may have heard wrong, the cost of the library is now $9.1 million, and we have to raise what I understood to be $2.2 million in addition to the $1.1 million. Now, this is difficult, but I do just want to briefly say this. We need a building projects committee. We need a project manager. We need public scrutiny of the second floor. And I'm asking again to let the general public see the horror of the second floor. In fact, I wonder how it was ever approved by the building manager so long ago. It is a matter of public safety. We need input from the general public. And we need to review, as I mentioned before, the public safety factor. I'm astounded that that ever passed any building manager. any building inspector.
Thank you. Mr. Wojciechowski? Please state your full name and address.
Stan Wojciechowski, 1044 Boston Neck Road. I just wanted to share related people and unrelated people are equal. I don't believe we need to treat them differently. I think it's very wrong. I remember visiting my grandmother's house. My mother had 11 siblings. And we go in there, and there was all kinds of screaming and yelling and all kinds of activity. They're parking on sidewalks. And they were drinking. Problem was drinking. Noise. The noise was drinking. They were drunk and drinking and loud, causing a lot of loud noise in his three-decker. And I remember it. I do remember one uncle, he was very quiet. He was so drunk, he just could hardly walk, and he was quiet. So I do remember that. But on the whole, it wasn't an issue related or unrelated. It was an issue of drunk or not drunk, or just how drunk. And then just last year, I went to a party with my daughter, and we got into a big fight about her buying a new car. She wanted to buy a new car, and I said, no, you buy an old car with a lot of miles on it, fix it, and you only spend $1,500 instead of $20,000. And we got to fighting and yelling, and the reason we started yelling was she had too much to drink. You know, I didn't have any, but I noticed I had to talk very loud to get her to listen. And again, the idea was too much to drink. The issue was drunk issues. People were messed up because of it, therefore they got loud. It's not a matter of related or unrelated. I had issues with related people, when they get drunk, they're noisy. And for you to pass an ordinance to discriminate against those is a violation of my liberty, of my property. I thought it was a family. They moved into my summer rental. I have one summer rental, 3-bedroom. They've been renting for the past 8 years from me. And I know they show up with about 9 cars. They say they're related. They say they're a family, my family and friends. I'm sure they have more than 3 unrelated or 4 unrelated. No complaint. I told a neighbor next door, you call me if there's any issue at all. No complaint. So I have unrelated people out there, and they did some drinking, because I was there picking up some garbage, trying to talk to them a little bit, and I knew they had some, but again, they knew enough not to have so much to cause a problem.
Thank you, Stanley.
Unrelated is not the issue, it's a noise issue, and the police haven't fixed. If you notice the beach, you haven't put the signs out there.
Thanks, Stanley.
And
We went through
argue about a noise problem and
Stanley,
not a
we're
related
past 3
problem.
minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry. I can't tell time. Us old guys, you know, it's kind of hard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we are going to come back to open forum. We have our public hearings for 8 o'clock, and we'll come right back to public forum after these. So we have a motion to reschedule the continued public hearing to consider rezoning a property to comply with designations assigned in the 2017 Narragansett Comprehensive Plan land use map. Do we have a motion?
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Okay. So this would be a rescheduling of the public hearing that we continued from last meeting. We have a request, I believe, from the attorney. Actually, I believe there was an attorney hired by Twin Willows who will be coming into this, as well as the attorney hired by the neighborhood, or not by the neighborhood, but by a few of the neighbors in the area. Is that right?
Mr. President, Mr. Parry, the attorney for the abutters, is here tonight. He's reached out to us through the town clerk. They are asking for a continuance as well. I believe Mr. DeLuca had contact with the owners of the property. They may be hiring an attorney. I'm not sure if that's been done, but they both want a new date. So if you reschedule this to a date certain after opening a public hearing, that should suffice.
Okay. Do you guys want to hear from the attorney, or are you, everyone fine rescheduling? Okay. Yep, so the recommended date is September 20th, 2021. Any questions or comments from the council? All right, anyone from the public? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved, 5-0. Next, we have a motion to open and hold a public hearing on the application of SAH Hospitality.
Mr. President, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think you need to open the public hearing to reschedule. Open the public hearing for the previous item. Open the hearing.
I thought we could just do it as a motion.
I
That's
think
what we've done in the past, but whatever your advice is.
I think it's best to open the public hearing for that purpose alone.
Okay.
And then do the date and then go forward that way.
Okay, all right. So I guess we will do a motion to open the continued public hearing to consider rezoning a property to comply with designations assigned in the 2017 Narragansett Comprehensive Plan land use map.
I'll move that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved, 5-0. Now, do we have a motion to reschedule the public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So the date would be September 20th. That makes sense, everyone? Everything okay? James, everything sound all right?
I thought you said October before, but you said September?
September 20th. I will double check that.
You did.
I did, right? September? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 5-0. And do we have a motion to, I don't need to do a motion to continue because that basically does
Just a
it.
motion to close the public hearing.
I'll move the motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, a motion to open and hold, do we have a motion to open and hold a public hearing on the application of SAH Hospitality LLC, doing business as Aqua Blue Hotel, for a new Class B Tavern alcoholic beverage license at Assessor's Plat C, Lot 181-2C, 1 Beach Street, Narragansett, Rhode Island.
I'll move the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Eva. Okay. James or Janet, do we have the applicant here tonight? Okay. Why don't you come on up?
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Tara Teague. I am the representative.
Hi.
We're going to have you,
Sorry.
sorry a second, we're
Yeah.
just going to have you sworn in real
Could you
quick.
please raise your right hand, state your name,
Tara Teague,
and how do you spell your last name?
T-E-A, G as in George, U-E.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Thank you very much.
of course.
Thanks for coming tonight. If you want to go ahead and just give us a little bit of information.
Okay, my name's Tara. I work for Mr. Patel, who's part of SAH Hospitality. He's the H, Hitesh Patel. They are located out of state, so I was sent here as a representative. I am the face of the person who kind of lives in the building. So I'm there all the time. We started this project, I was hired in October of 2019, shortly after SAH bought the property over that previous summer. And we started with approvals, some groundbreaking and getting everything cleared out from the 2 previous restaurants that existed there. Gutted everything, got it all cleared out right in February of 2020. And then COVID hit and everything just stopped. So we paused for a long time, which is what brought us here, to start fresh. I don't know if anyone's been by. There have been a lot of things going on over there. I know inspectors have come in and out and seen what we've been doing. We cleared the 2 restaurants. We are turning it into something really beautiful, and we're hoping to open soon. I know we missed this season, which hurts a little bit, but given how hard it's been to staff the other restaurants in the area, we're trying to think of that as a blessing in disguise. Start out in the fall and winter, build up, and we think that this restaurant versus some of the previous things that were in that location, which when I was younger and had less children, I definitely had some fun in as well. But we're trying to bring it up more of the level of the restaurants in the area, more on the level of a Trio, more on the level of a Coast Guard house, not to be some loud complaining type of thing. We're thinking the restaurant we're going to put in the place, we already have our LLC. It's called Sapphire. It's going to be a more high-end steakhouse style restaurant. We're not running a bunch of draft lines, just like a nice quality meal for a good price with an absolutely gorgeous view. We took out all those walls up against the deck. It's folding glass. You can just straight see the ocean. It's going to be really beautiful. So we're hoping that we can get this step going so that we can start rolling forward with that and open up something really beautiful.
Thank you, Tara. Why don't we just see if there's any questions from the council before we take additional public comment from the public? Does anyone have any questions about the license? So you got one?
Yeah, I had a question. Janet, there was a little hiccup in their license, but they're all squared away, right? For their liquor license and everything. There was a little hiccup last year, and now they're all set? Right, okay. I got no problem with this applicant to get a liquor license and to move forward.
All right. So this is the...
Hang on.
All right.
They will have to go through all the approvals.
Right, all right.
The process, so
Okay.
everything is
Finish
going
the
to
process
be
up.
subject to
Yeah.
approval.
So we can make it contingent upon, okay, perfect.
Okay, anyone else from the council?
So can you just tell us a little bit about the establishment as far as the menu and what you're thinking? I know has been some entertainment outside. It's a great location, but just elaborate for us and the public.
Absolutely. So our menu for right now, which is very loosely based because the chef that we were hoping to pull on board in the beginning of 2020 has now moved to Texas. So that's not going to happen. So we do have some other people out there, but we have, we're thinking really nice, beautiful cuts of meat. We've been in discussions with a lot of local vendors to pull in, fresh local produce. I don't know if anyone from here is familiar with the mushroom farm in North Kingston, but they're going to grow a specific specialty blended mushroom that's something similar to a portobello but a little heartier that we're going to use across the menu board to have something that's signaturely ours but also works it in, have some vegan options, have some vegetarian options, small menu, like 9 entrees, 4 salads, a bunch of appetizers, rotating seasonal specials. As far as the entertainment goes, we know there are obviously 11 p.m. noise ordinances. We're going to be very respectful of that. Not only do we have the condos right next to us that aren't going to want someone underneath their window, but we also have the hotel rooms above us. Those are oceanfront rooms, so those people don't want anything too late, but we would love to be able to incorporate some local acts with some acoustic sounds, maybe like a quiet open mic night, especially in, I think everyone that lives down here, we all are lucky enough to realize that although the season ends soon, it doesn't, because it's still really gorgeous down here through October, knock on wood, most years, and we don't have a Halloween snowstorm. So we're hoping to be able to do something like that. We're partnering with Cisco to bring in our food, so they have some great partnerships with a lot of meat vendors and stuff like that will bring in some just really excellent quality things, and that's really what our goal is, to have fresh, local, quality ingredients that'll be a small, rotating seasonal menu, but open year-round.
So the restriction was until 11 o'clock outside?
As far as I was told previously, and again, you would know that more than me, but that was the noise ordinance, was 11 p.m. because I know we just actually, if anyone was down in the Pier this weekend, on Sunday, we had a small wedding reception where we had outside caterers, an outside bartender, and a DJ come to, and that was the time we were told. We made them stop at 10. But we were all outside, and it was really beautiful. It's so nice at night down here to have just like a small 70-person wedding reception with a band and enjoying that. And we're fortunate enough that we're right across the street from the gazebo. So when we have that wonderful live music on the weekends in the season, everyone at the hotel gets to enjoy that. The restaurant will just tie into that as well. Open up all those glass doors, and the music just flows right in.
So the answer is yes,
Yes.
to 11?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Unless I'm wrong about that time and
No,
it's earlier, and I work with that.
think it was 11. I was
Yeah.
just trying to
The
see if it was.
the previous, the previous liquor license had the restriction for limited to a 1 to 3 piece musical combo with soft acoustic background. Music low amplification until 11 p.m.
Thank you.
Yep.
Great.
Okay, anyone else from the council?
I just want to, there was an item in the packet from an individual indicating that there was an unpaid bill. Can you address
So-
that?
That came through with this, and we were not aware of that beforehand. The prior owners, as I said, this company bought the property in 2019. The last restaurant that was in that location, which was called Oceanside at the Pier, I know that when they went out of business, they had a lot of outstanding bills. That specific liquor vendor was apparently owed money by the prior ownership. I don't know what the kind of restrictions would be for us to move forward with that, but obviously whatever is that decision is something we'll move forward with. But that was under the prior ownership from before 2019. Narragansett Recreation used to own Aqua Blue and hold the liquor license. They were bought out by SAH Hospitality in June of 2019. And the restaurant Oceanside at the Pier, and forgive me because this was prior to me, I don't know their actual corporate name, leased the space from Narragansett Recreation, who would have accrued that bill. Because we haven't served any alcohol in that location. I believe Oceanside at the Pier went out of business in the end of 2017 to the beginning of 2018.
Ms. Kopik, I would suggest that you make a condition of the issuance of the license down the road, resolution of this outstanding issue. The LLCs are different, but some of the principles remain the same.
That's what I
Okay.
noticed, yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Deb. Anything else? Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak? Dr. Alba?
Please state your name.
Dr. Al Alba.
Can you speak in the microphone for
Dr.
the...
Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace, Narragansett, Rhode Island.
Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
So I want to wish you the best on your venture. I used to go to the former restaurant. I know the owners, Cucina Rustica, down Atwood Avenue in Cranston. Excellent food over there. And when I went to find them in Cranston, you know, they were heartbroken when they had to leave. So I don't think it was any fault of their own, the two ladies who owned it, that they ended up having to, you know, it was no fault. They weren't going bankrupt themselves. They were paying their bills. In fact, I'm sure they wouldn't have been able to keep their business on Atwood Avenue in Cranston open if there were any issues. They would have been after them. You know, it's a small state. So I just wanted to clear their names, make sure, just let you know that I do wish you well. I think it had to do with the previous proprietorship. So I just hope that the bad luck that they had with, unfortunately, the owners who weren't paying their bills and forced them to leave does not have similar fate for you. So I wish you the best and congratulations. And we always welcome fine restaurants in Narragansett. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Wojciechowski?
Mr. Wojciechowski, please state your name and address.
Stan Wojciechowski, 1044 Boston Neck Road.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
It's well aware, you know, for any business to do well, they have to serve alcohol. And so, you know, you need to give her the same opportunity as other businesses to sell the alcohol. And again, this is a beach town. The beach town, we have parties, we have fun. We go out there and drink. And some people, of course, abuse that. But on the whole, it's not facility's fault if they end up getting too drunk and cause trouble, noise somewhere, whether they're related or unrelated. You know, you give her the right to do it, and all the restaurants should have the right, I think, to serve alcohol so they can succeed here. Because that's what we have. We have a vibrant business community, a vibrant town here. Because we have a vibrant business community, we support it. So we need to give her the license and understand that drinking is important and it's an issue. It does cause noise, and we recognize that. However, we will allow the businesses to survive here. I support her in this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All right, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. And now we have a motion to approve a Class B, actually, so James, can I amend this now, or should we do it in the motion?
In the motion.
Okay. A motion to approve/deny a Class B Tavern alcoholic beverage license with restrictions to SAH Hospitality LLC, doing business as Aqua Hotel, 1 Beach Street, Narragansett, Rhode Island, subject to state and local regulations. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Patrick Murray. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to just offer up a amendment, see if it works to make this contingent on the debt. If everyone agrees, we could discuss that. So I am recommending a motion to approve a Class B Tavern alcoholic beverage license with restrictions to SAH Hospitality LLC, doing business as Aqua Blue Hotel, contingent on the debt, the referenced debt, proven to be paid in writing, subject to state and local regulations. Does that make sense? Or you want to name?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Is that okay?
That's good.
Second.
Do you name
James, will that work? Or do we need to name it?
I think that works.
Okay.
It's in the packet.
Okay. Is that all right with everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, anyone from the public looking to speak? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved 5-0. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, so we are back to open for public comment. Please raise your hand if you're looking to speak. Please state your full name and address.
My name is Heather Poliot-Kasilowitz, and I am the Executive Director of the South County Museum located at 115 Strathmore Street, Narragansett. My charge here today is twofold. First, to introduce myself. I am the full-time salaried public history professional that's been charged by the board, the members, and the community to ensure that the South County Museum's mission, which is to inspire curious learners of all ages to understand the history and explore, engage, and experience that history that is about agriculture, maritime, and textile mills in the villages that formed in southern Rhode Island around those. First, I'd love to thank you all and the town and the residents for supporting us throughout the year and in my new position. During COVID, we had many residents come and visit for free while we were open with our outdoors exhibit, so people could come and do something that they felt both safe and engaged with, and we were happy to do that. Now that the doors are back open, we are finding that people are coming back for their field trips, for music events like the Music at the Museum. But most importantly, I'm here to invite all of you to come to see our current exhibit, which is commercial fishing, the early years. And I would like to personally invite each of you, if you want to come for free on Saturdays at 1 o'clock, for everyone here and the residents of Narragansett to get a private tour from me. I'm very passionate about the work that went into creating the commercial fishing exhibit. It's over 2 years. Included in that is a grant supported by the Rhode Island Council for Humanities so we can continue the work from the Narragansett High School oral history project, and we're doing that following up 20 years later. We also have a Facebook group which has almost 2,000 commercial fishermen. I can't speak for them, but I can tell you that they very much want not only to be recognized for providing food for the world, but they are in the most dangerous job in the state. Yet we do not have a permanent exhibit celebrating what they've contributed and given their lives for. With that, I've been collaborating with many organizations, including the University of Rhode Island, to ensure that the next exhibit, Ocean of Voices, continues to recognize their commitment, their sacrifices, and the value they provide Southern Rhode Island. So I hope to see you at the museum soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heather.
All right, Dr. Alba?
Dr. Al Alba.
Please state your full name and address.
Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace, Narragansett, Rhode Island. I am so pleased that the Narragansett Times printed an article in regards to my support for having accessibility for everyone. As you know, with the previous town council, many of us felt that, the openness or the availability to see what was going on sometimes wasn't the easiest to do. On that note, I feel that we, as a town and town council, that we open our doors, have accessibility through cable, and also through Zoom, now that we have the potential. I think that's very important as well. As you can see, the percentage of people who are here, we have regulars who are here, but this is a very small percentage of our overall population, let's face it. We have the regulars who show up regularly. And, my mom, who's 88 years old, and she's doing great, she goes, "Can I put on cable today to watch it?" I said, "It's not going to be possible." So, and I'm sure maybe you have loved ones at home, your parents, grandparents, or whoever it might be. But there are people out there who want to be up to date, want to see what's going on. And logistically, some people can't make it here because of work commitments. So like I said, they might have frailties, young and old alike. I have a cousin who has MS, and she's in a assisted living center, and she's about 50 some odd years old. So I think it's very important that we make our meetings open, reconsider, try to get it back on cable. I'm a member of St. Thomas More, St. Veronica's, they have it streaming. They actually have, they have different ways. But nowadays, with technology the way it is, let's try to have as much transparency as possible for everyone. And I think it's great because this way here we can benefit. Like I say, there's strength in numbers, strength in ideas. I have the Our Town Facebook page and the Narragansett Town Council Forum, and a lot of people say, "I'd love to make it, but I can't do it because I got family, I got kids, et cetera, et cetera." So they have a lot of great ideas. They want to contribute. So hopefully we can reconsider just alternative ways of broadcasting Narragansett Town Council meetings aside from YouTube Live. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Barry? Please state your full name and address.
Yes, I will. Good to see everyone. Dan Barry, 6 Meadow Rue Trail, Saunderstown, Rhode Island, the Narragansett side of Saunderstown. I'm here representing the library tonight and the capital campaign. I'm the fundraiser for the capital campaign, and just want to give a short update. When we started this campaign to save our library, we were blessed with the Murray Family Foundation $500,000 challenge. We met that significantly. We surpassed it quite a bit. I'm pleased to announce tonight that another generous family donated the challenge, the Joe Healy Family $200,000 challenge. For every dollar raised in the community, they'll match it up to $200,000. The campaign is going very well, and we've got brochures in the library, but just wanted to make sure you knew we're still around raising money. During the COVID, we raised over $1.6 million, which was hard to do. We're now back on track to raise money and get everybody involved. So we're doing extremely well, and that's pretty much it.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. All right, anyone else? In the back? Please state your full name and address.
Elizabeth Danaker Del Gizzo at 102 Riverdale Drive, Saunderstown, Narragansett. I would like to also reiterate, I think it's so important that we have open government and for us residents to be able to have it televised or Zoom, whatever. As a resident, taxpayer, so on and so forth, I just feel that this is very important to us. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Ferrandi. Please state your full name and address.
Stephen Ferrandi, 44 Sylvan Road, Narragansett, Rhode Island. Thank you, council members. I'd like to just respond to the I didn't realize it was going to be on tonight, but we had it in the announcements that our four unrelated, it was very brief, and that's one of the most important ordinances that's been in the town for a long time. That's very seldomly been enforced. So I'd like to find out and have a little more explanation of how, I know Mr. Tierney said it was going to be just by complaint driven. I would like to find out if our new solicitor, since we have an old solicitor, this is a new solicitor now, is there a plan in place to defend this ordinance if it has any sort of a legal challenge and that's been vetted out? And, I'd like to have them look at this, a document that we found through a public record from the landlord group that says they, will bring an action against the town if they're able to enforce this. So I just want to make sure all our ducks in a row with this. This is critically, critically important. And also in 2 nights, we're going to talk about the 3 student ordinance again. So I want to make sure that people are not overconfident about this 4 unrelated that Mr. Tierney said it passed muster. And we didn't hear from the new solicitor yet about how confident he is about this and how much detail went into this extremely important ordinance. So 2 nights from now, we're not relying on something that maybe wasn't vetted out enough. So I'd like to let the solicitor please take a look at this, see how he interprets this, and if you still feel the same way about the town being able to enforce the 4 unrelated, which is very important, but they're both different ordinances. So I just don't want one being mixed up with the other. It's critically important. So unless if they can explain a little bit, at some point, how confident they are about it not bringing a legal challenge to 4 unrelated, or is the 3 student one not as hard to bring a legal ordinance? I'd really like that vetted out. I think it's critically important.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ferrandi. You could go ahead and drop that off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know about you guys, but
Appreciate your
it's
time.
hard for you to hear. I'm having
It's a little hard.
It's a
Dan,
little-
could that be
yeah.
turned up in the
Yeah,
chambers,
it's a
or
little difficult to hear. Yeah, I'm wondering if that one.
it's
Thanks,
about as
Ed.
loud? Okay.
So maybe these 2 off the side. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? In the blue shirt?
Yeah, I guess that's better. I was like stretching to hear.
Please state your full name and address.
I'm a little short, so. How do you do? This is my first meeting here. My name is Elaine Simeone. I've lived in Narragansett for 56 years. I'm a full-time resident. I'm a registered voter. I registered my cars here. I do not rent my home. I am surrounded by rental students. I have parking issues. The police do not enforce. Yesterday, my neighbor had a party. 25 cars parked on the wrong side of the street. I am tired of calling the Narragansett police to get no response from them. It seems I'm the bully in the neighborhood. I am at the point now, after 56 years of living in this town, of having to decide whether I want to continue to live here. No one enforces the no parking rule on the right-hand side of Angel Road. Angel Road is a highway. It is not a road. If you look at a map, it says 108 highway on Angel Road. I have no other recourse. This is the first time in 56 years I have ever come to these meetings. Now I hear that we are going to up the housing for students. I have a house next door. This gentleman, and I know you people here, are very particular about getting a permit to do things. They come in from Connecticut, they do whatever they want, they never get a permit, okay? They turn garages into bedrooms, they make a shower on my property line. I don't even know who to call. I am a nurse practitioner. I hardly leave my home any longer. I am afraid to go out my front door to Angel Road. I have a sign on my door that says, side door only. I am 77 years old with a severe back problem. They block my driveway. I have 3 cars in my driveway I own and register here. I have nowhere to turn except to put that for sale sign on my home of 56 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. Is there any item on consent that any council members would like to remove? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 5-0.
Mr. President, could
Yep.
I ask to move up motion 26 from the agenda?
Sure, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to move up motion 26.
Is there a second?
Second. Second.
All right, any comments from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 5-0. Number 26 is a motion to appoint and swear in Thomas Herschen as the town sergeant.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
All right, this is from Susan, or Councilor Cicilline Bonanno.
So the town sergeant position has been really difficult to fill over many years. It's really a low-paying job, but the job is to be in the chamber to keep order, and we really seek out people that are interested. It's been hard over many years, and I'm happy that tonight Thomas Herschen's here. He is a lifelong resident of Narragansett. He grew up in Point Judith. He manages a local odd job company. He is very interested in municipal government, and I'm thrilled that he would like to serve as the town sergeant. So I'd like to put his name up today.
Sounds great. Any questions or comments from the council?
Yeah, how old are you, Tom? 30, okay, good. Now nobody trusts you. Okay, you got the job.
All right, anyone else? Any comments from the public? Okay. Sounds easy enough. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved, 5-0. And Mr. Herschen, I'll go ahead and swear you in.
You have to come on up, Thomas.
You ready to serve today?
Good luck.
I, Thomas Herschen, do solemnly swear.
I will be true and faithful to the state.
I will be true and faithful to the state.
And support the laws and constitution thereof.
And support the laws and constitution thereof.
The laws and constitution of the United States.
The laws and constitution of the United States.
Narragansett Town Charter and ordinances.
The Narragansett Town Charter and ordinances.
And that I will well and truly execute the office of town sergeant.
And that I will well and truly execute the office of town sergeant.
For the term for which I have been appointed.
For the term for which I've been appointed.
And until another be engaged in my place.
Until another be engaged in my place.
Or until I am legally discharged therefrom.
Or until I'm legally discharged therefrom.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congrats.
Yes?
All right, number 6 is a motion to approve the contractual agreement between the town of Narragansett and Russell Desgranges to perform... DeGrange.
DeGrange.
Thanks. Not as fancy. To perform plumbing and mechanical inspections for the building official's office from July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. Do we have a motion?
I'll move the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. So this comes from the Building Inspection Department. I don't know if we have Mr. Pimentel here or not. We do. Would you mind coming up real quick? Thank you. Because I'll tell you why.
Say it.
Because it's... Thank you. So if you could just quickly explain how this relates to the retainer contract that we already have.
Sure.
Sure.
Russ DeGrange has filled in as the plumbing mechanical inspector for James Harris for quite a few years now. So this is more or less a housekeeping measure to put him on the payroll when he does fill in. So there's no additional expense when he fills in. James Harris will not be paid, so it's basically a wash. But we felt as though it was important to have him on the payroll when he was actually filling in to account for him doing the duties that he's appointed to be doing.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? That makes sense? All right. Thanks, Mr. Pimentel.
You're welcome.
Any comments from the public? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Motion approved 5-0. From Police Department, number 7 is a motion to approve the purchase and installation of equipment for 3 new police vehicles from Global Public Safety in the amount of $40,998. Do we have a motion?
I'll move the motion.
Is there a second? All right, seconded by Eva. Any questions from the council? All right, anyone from the public wishing to speak? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. From the Fire Department, number 8 is a motion to accept a reimbursable Fire Act grant of $118,500 from the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Department of Homeland Security Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program, and for the town manager to sign acceptance of said grant. This grant will cover the purchase of a new compressor for the fire department. The federal share of this grant is 95%, or $112,857,000.14 of the approved amount, and the department share of the cost is 5%, or $5,642.86. Is there a motion?
I'll move the motion.
Second.
All right. Any questions from the council?
Nice job.
Thank you for getting the grant.
Nice job, once again.
Right. All right. Anyone from the public? Mr. Wojciechowski.
I want to commend the chief for finding the money. You know, that's obviously going to help the taxpayer, and I just hope that he can continue to do that as he goes on, as he's done in the past. I've done it many times, and I'm so happy that I have to come up here and give him an attaboy every time he does it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 9 is a motion to award the bid for fire hose, pump, and ladder testing to the lowest bidder, Waterway of Hudson Valley, at their quoted bid prices for a 3-year period.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
All right. Questions or comments from the council? Anyone from the public? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 10 from the Finance Department is a motion to approve the contract amendment for additional professional services with GZA Geo Environmental Incorporated and their partner iParametrics for disaster recovery administrative services for COVID-19 in an amount not to exceed $22,084, and authorize the town manager to sign the contract after review by the town solicitor.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Questions or comments from the council?
I don't
Do you
know.
want to have Christine? All right. Chris, do you mind coming up?
Come up and just sort of summarize it, make sure we're not missing anything.
All right. Thank you. Susan, if you want to go first.
No, could you just summarize
Just
for us?
summarize, sure. Good evening, thank you. This is a second work order with this company. We've already gone through one. We have requested $449,838 in reimbursement for COVID-related expenditures, and we received $338,000 so far to date. So this will just be another order to continue putting in for COVID expenses or anything that comes up. And still submit a few more, and then they're going to help with a little bit with the rescue plan funds. They're going to provide some guidance with that as well.
Thank you for sharing that publicly.
Good?
Thank you, Chris. Okay. All right, any questions from the public? Okay. Council's good? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 5-0. Number 11 from engineering is a motion to approve a one-year extension of the annual preventative maintenance agreement for instrumentation control programming, a SCADA equipment system from Electrical Installations Incorporated in the amount of $10,800, water $3,600, wastewater $7,200, and at their quoted hourly rates.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from the council? All right. Anyone from the public looking to speak? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 5-0. From the IT department, number 12 is a motion to approve the purchase of Dell computers, laptops, monitors, workstation, and laptop cases as part of the PC replacement program from Zones LLC in the amount of $45,481.41. Do we have a motion?
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Seconded by Eva. Any questions from the council? Does anyone want to hear Dan?
I'm sorry?
It's laptop replacements? Okay. Anyone from the
Now we
public
get it.
wishing to speak? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 5-0. Number 13 for the Parks and Rec Department is a motion to approve the request from the Animal Rescue League of Southern Rhode Island to conduct their annual Bark on the Beach fundraiser at the town beach on October 2nd, 2021, from 8 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., subject to approval from state and local regulations.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Anyone from the council have any questions? All right. Anyone from the public wishing to speak? Ms. Celeberto? Please state your full name and address.
Catherine Celeberto, 48 Earls Court. I've written letters to the editor about this. I feel that our beach is becoming a giant litter box. We can't control the animals before and after the beach opens. They're on. They are there from, September 15th to May 15th. And now this is an event. South Kingston has a beach, okay? They have a beach. This is an event where South Kingston is going to use our beach to bring 150 to 185 dogs for a 3.5-hour event. Now, I used to talk to Steve about this. He didn't approve of dogs on the beach either. He had sent me some studies that have been done. Just let me quote. Of the streams and waterways that have undergone expensive DNA testing in the United States, scientists have found that 20 to 30% of the pollution comes from dog excrement. Analyzing dog excrement has found that a single gram of dog waste can contain 23 million fecal coliform bacteria. This is our major asset in this town, our beach. Dog urine and excrement can spread life-threatening bacteria and viruses like ringworm, hookworm, tapeworm, salmonella, and these come through the body, through cuts and that type of thing. I just don't think it's necessary. They have a beach. South Kingston has a beach. I don't know why they want to come here and use our beach for this event. I just think we already have a dog problem. We don't need to add to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle, do you mind coming up real quick? Just a couple questions for you. Thank you. So this is in October, after the beach is closed for the season, and we do allow dogs on the beach during the off-season generally, right?
Correct, sir.
Right. For this event specifically, is there any sort of, in the agreement, is there any sort of information on cleanup or anything like that by the organizers? Do they do cleanup of?
Yes, so this is a very popular event, and I do understand the concerns that Catherine has raised to the council. I do believe that all of the participants of this event maintain their dogs on a leash as required by town ordinance. Dogs aren't allowed to be running around, and I'm very much sure that each and every participant of this event picks up after their dogs. Of course, urine is another concern, of course, but the other waste definitely is picked up. So again, I do understand Catherine's concern. It is a small window for this event. Again, people do control their animals, and it is supporting a good cause for the local animal shelters.
Thank you. Any questions for Michelle?
Have we had any issues with this event in the past? I mean, has it been problematic in the past?
No, it has not. Actually, they have not had very good weather the past few years. They usually have a torrential rainstorm during their event, and they kind of huddle on the pavilion. That's why they use the pavilion. The different vendors that show up for this event actually set up on the pavilion in the event of inclement weather. So again, it's not a lot of dogs running around the beach. Again, we do have leash laws in the town. People do control their animals. Again, I do, like I said, understand Catherine's concerns. But again, people do take care of their animals, and I don't really foresee any issues with this event.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to comment. So I've actually been part of it. I think anybody that knows me or follows me on social media knows that I'm an avid dog lover. I've actually participated in this event a couple of years ago. I was actually the top fundraiser for this event, and it is a really great event. The community comes out. Everybody's respectful. They walk their dogs, and I didn't see any dogs off leash or anything left behind. People are respectful, and they do actually pick up after the dogs. So that's all I wanted to comment.
Thanks.
I'd like to, yes. We're talking puppies, right? Puppies? Puppies?
No,
Dogs.
Dogs?
Well, they're
Of all
dogs
shapes
of all
and sizes.
sizes. Puppies, new dogs, old dogs,
Right,
adoptable dogs, etc.
Okay, all kinds of dogs.
All kinds of
Now,
dogs.
the Animal Rescue League has nothing to do with the town of South Kingston, correct? That's a dog pound, which is separate.
It's located there.
Right? So it's got nothing to do with South Kingston. So I can see why they come
That's right.
on. We get a better beach. So, all right, I can support a couple puppies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
But no St. Bernards, right?
Okay, any other comments from the public? All right. Go ahead and take the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Aye.
approved, 5-0. Number 14 is a motion to approve the request from Parks and Recreation Department, the Narragansett Lions Club, and the Narragansett Chamber of Commerce to host the third annual Endless Summer Festival to be held on September 17th and 18th, 2021. The two-day concert event will be held at the Narragansett Beach Cabana and North Pavilion areas, subject to approval of state and local regulations.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
All right, questions from the council? All right, anyone from the public? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 5-0. Number 15 is a motion to approve donating the 2007 Ford E450 Super Duty passenger van to the Pomona Grange DBA Washington County Fair. Do we have a
I'll move the
motion?
motion.
Second.
All right, any questions? Okay, anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved, 5-0. Number 16 from the town clerk is a motion to approve a victualling license application for Moo-Moo's Ice Cream at 106 Point Judith Road, Narragansett, Rhode Island, subject to local and state regulations.
I'll move the motion.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right. So this is a license that did exist and lapsed at the beginning of COVID, and is just being basically caught up on and renewed now. So does anyone from the council have any questions?
No puppies, right?
Ice cream, just.
Ice cream, no puppies.
Right. All right. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 5-0.
Good luck.
From Public Works, number 17 is a motion to approve the filling of 2 truck driver positions in Highway Division, one due to a transfer, the second newly budgeted. Do we have a motion?
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Yeah, before we, shouldn't this be split up, since these are 2 different positions?
I guess it depends on if we don't want to approve both of them.
You
I
got a
don't,
ruling with your attorney? James, what do you think?
I think Jesse's right. I think you can split those up depending on how you vote on the 2 separate items.
get quitted.
May make sense.
well, he said depending on how we vote. So we could talk about it. Thank you. Is there any, do you have hesitations with one you'd like to talk about separately?
Well, we have an ordinance. We have an ordinance where we should vote on any new hires. One's a transfer and the other one's a new hire. So I think it should be split up.
That's fine.
Yes, you do the transfer.
Fine, why don't we start with the transfer then? We could do these as sub-motions, correct? Okay. So we'll start with a motion to approve the filling in the Highway Division for one position due to a transfer.
I'll move that motion.
Second.
All right, discussion? All right, questions from, or comments from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved 5-0. Next, we have a motion to approve the filling of a truck driver position in the Highway Division, which is a new, sorry, let me just start that one over. A motion to approve a newly budgeted position. A motion to approve the filling of a newly budgeted position of a truck driver in the Highway Division.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Yeah, I had a question. Is this something that we already approved, Mike?
Mike, can you come on up?
We already approved this a couple months ago?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's all.
That's the only question you have?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, Mike, that's it.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good, we're good.
Sit down, sit down.
Coming up anyway.
No, it's all right.
fine.
It's all right.
Good evening. This was budgeted in the last council,
Right.
just hasn't been filled.
Right, okay.
So this was from the 2019-2020 budget? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Just
Great,
wasn't
thank
sure
you.
you were sneaking another one in there on it. Just making sure you're not sneaking another employee on it.
I would never do that.
All right, all right.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, any questions from the council? Anything else?
We're good.
Anyone from the public wishing to speak? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 5-0. Number 18 is a motion to adopt a resolution amending the official list of designated stop intersections and the official stop sign map in accordance with Narragansett Code of Ordinances.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Okay, so this comes from Public Works. However, I do believe the Traffic Safety Committee was probably involved in this decision. Chief, do you have any information you could share with us? We need to bring everybody up at least once this meeting, so thank you.
Yes, we had the traffic safety work group look at that particular location. We had a rash of accidents in like a 2-week time frame. So we kind of looked at the history, looked at the location, and on our traffic safety work group, we have a representative from Public Works, Steve Dagnall, and my captain, as well as other officers, and they came up with that recommendation.
Okay, so this is Poddington Road, and right now there are 2 stop signs, and this would make it so there's a stop sign on every corner.
It's going to
of
make it a 4-way stop.
4-way stop, right? Okay.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone from the council have any other thoughts? All right, anyone from the public wishing to speak? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 5-0. Number 19 is a motion to authorize the use of the miscellaneous repair and construction services contract with George Sherman Sand and Gravel Incorporated to complete drainage pipe replacement on 4th Street in the amount of $35,000.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Discussion? All right, anyone from the public? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved, 5-0. Number 20 is a motion to approve the proposal for professional engineering services related to Nichols Ave and Central Ave drainage improvements for Beta Group in the amount of $27,620. Do we have a motion?
I'll move the motion.
Second.
All right, any questions from the council?
That's a good one. Mike, I had a question. Sorry, Mike. Yeah, that pipe down there has been running for years. You guys gonna dig all that up and redirect it, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a design for a drainage system, but it's more expensive because of the water body there behind Aunt Carrie's is
Wetland.
wetland. Yep.
Is it gonna go into the wetland?
It will go into there, but it has to be specially designed because of the type of wetland it
Gotta
is.
put a riprap type thing, yeah,
Yep.
okay.
That's a good idea.
Thank you.
Mess down there,
Thanks, Mike.
that whole area,
It's very sensitive down there,
a
Nicholas.
mess.
Yeah.
All right, anyone from the public looking to speak?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Catherine.
Oh, Catherine, sorry, I missed you. Please state your full name and address.
Catherine Celebrato, 48 Earls Court. I'd like to know how streets get picked for drainage upgrades. Earls Court is, well, what can I say? It's like a river runs through it, okay? For some reason, we have a storm drain at the corner of Gibson and Earls, and then there are storm drains from Noble to Ocean, but the whole stretch that I'm on, there aren't any storm drains. So the water gushes down the street, and hopefully it hits some of the drains at the lower end of Noble, but the rest of it just crosses Ocean Road into the ocean. And I've been on Earls Court 30 years, and I remember when they initially did it, and my husband asked about it, they said, oh, there's rock down that end. After that, I built another house on Earls Court, and we blasted through the rock to get to the water pipe. So I know it can be done. And right now, when it rains, I'm talking serious puddles on people's lawns, okay? And my water wells all fill up. People have water in the basement. I pump, you know, into the backyard. Anybody can come and look. It's pumped into the line of trees. But some people don't even have sump pumps because their houses are so old. So we have a real problem. And I just wondering why nobody's noticed it or done anything, or like why we haven't been prioritized, because like I said, the water's running right down the street, right into the ocean. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved, 5-0. Number 21 is a motion to approve the purchase of one new Vector debris body replacement for a Public Works vacuum truck from CN Wood Enviro LLC in the amount of $75,210.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
All right. Discussion from the council? Okay. Anyone from the public? Mr. Wojciechowski?
Repairing it, they're repairing it themselves, they're putting a new body on, saving.
Please state your full name and address.
Stan Wojciechowski, 1044 Boston Neck Road. I know I brought this up before. Is there any possibility that we can partner up with South Kingstown so we could borrow their truck? I don't see that this vacuum truck would be used every day all year long. And in my mind, I just think maybe, is there enough vacuuming being done that you do need your own truck, or can you partner up to save some money here? We got to look for some possibility.
Stanley, they're replacing the body on this truck. They're saving probably, what, 300,000? This guy can explain it.
I know.
Unless I read this wrong.
I don't even want to have a truck at all. I want to borrow theirs or rent theirs off, and let them buy it, and we'll rent it cheap. That's what I want to do. I want to at least look at it. I mean, maybe we can't do it. Or maybe it's not, you know.
He'll give you a little bit
All
more
right, Mike.
information on this,
Sorry
Stanley.
about that, Mike. I called you the third time. Good luck, guys.
So I believe South Kingston got rid of their truck and contracted it out. And this new truck, a replacement would be about $500,000 right now.
Right.
We bought this truck in 2007 with
Yep.
half grant. It was $250,000 at that time.
Right.
This is only $75,000.
That's right.
The truck's a 2007. It's in perfect condition because the cabin, the chassis is in perfect condition because it is garaged year-round.
Yep.
When it's out in service, spring, summer, fall, it is in service 3 seasons of the year, and $75,000 is very economical to
Right.
put just a new body on the truck.
Doing all the work, Stanley, saving a lot of money here.
Thanks, Mike. All right, anyone else from the public? All right, from the council? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 5-0. All right, 22 from the town council is a motion to direct the town manager to enter a memorandum of agreement after review by the town solicitor with Big Brothers. Sorry, I thought this was coming off, right?
Say again?
I thought this was,
No, it's on, they worked on the
oh, got it, okay, sorry about that.
contract. They did their job. They
All
were
right.
well done.
A motion to direct the town manager to enter a memorandum of agreement after review by the town solicitor with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Rhode Island to place one or more donation bins on town-managed property for collection of donated articles of clothing.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
All right,
So, yeah,
go
so I'll
ahead.
just give a little background. So at our last meeting, we had a woman that came and spoke about this program. Tom Fiore is in the audience, who has done a lot with Big Brother, Big Sister. So I wanted to sponsor this bin program. So I want to thank Michelle, the Park and Rec Director, and working on this contract with, I think, the manager as well, and the solicitor worked on it. So I'm happy that it's on. And I just had one question about the bin, Michelle, if you just come up with. And thank you, Tom, for being here, too.
Actually, this will be coming from DPW's budget.
Okay. So obviously, it's a great program, and thank you very much for working out all the fine details. I couldn't figure out where the bins are actually going to be placed, and I know they said that you worked that out. How does that go? So where will they actually be placed?
Well, we don't know that yet, because first of all, they're going to have to be registered through Dorian Boardman and the Highway Department. There are some, I guess, legalities about them being registered, and then we'll have to decide exactly the best locations and exactly how many bins that we need in town. Because of course we do have a couple of other bins in towns with other agencies. We have the bin at the community center, and then of course we have the other bin near Merity Bait and Tackle. So again, we want to not be near those locations and then figure out collectively what the best area would be, or areas if we have more than one.
And when will you decide that, or together, and when will that be?
Well, after tonight's meeting, I hope to reach out to her tomorrow and continue to discuss that, and possibly taking a ride throughout town and deciding, what maybe the north end might be a good spot, or maybe in the southern end, since we do have several bins kind of right in the middle of town. So certainly we'll look at the demographics of town and see where the best fit is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the council? All right, I do have one question. Sorry, I didn't know. So my only concern with this, I'm not sure. Yeah, you might as well stay up. My only concern, because I remember the process for the bin that was placed at the community center, and that kind of was like a little more complicated than would be expected. It took a longer time to get approval than you might expect. I do wish that we had a list of the specific locations before us before we approved it, based on this motion, we would just be approving it, and then the town staff would place them based on their discretion. I would like to see that list just come before the council for approval, because we're going to get complaints no matter what from people. And, you know, I'd like to approve those spots.
That's why I asked, because I too am concerned. We want to make sure they're in the right spots, and so we don't want to duplicate it. We want to make sure they're placed well. So I do agree with that, so.
So certainly, so when we have a decision on a location or a few locations, I could certainly bring it to your attention in the form of an agenda, or however you'd like it to be presented. And we could have an open forum discussion if you'd like, because again, the townspeople are going to want to weigh in on the matter, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you guys want to make an amendment to this, or just go ahead with this and then just expect the agenda
I
item?
think we can just go ahead with this.
Go ahead,
Yeah, and,
okay.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think she said it publicly. We're on the record for wanting
We
to
trust
be
you.
involved,
We
and
trust
want to
you.
trust you. Yeah.
Certainly, I promise you I won't place any bins in town without your authority.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All
Michelle.
right. Any other questions? Okay, anyone from the public? Ms. Celeberto?
Oh, and Tom Fury is going to come up.
Okay, I'll call next.
Catherine Celebrato, 48 Earls Court. First, I have been a big sister for many years, as a matter of fact. I don't think we should be charging them to rent space in town. According to that contract, it says we get 30% of their proceeds. It seems kind of, you know, I don't think it's necessary, and I think we should waive it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yep, in the back.
This is Tom. He does all the events at Bonneville, big sister.
Tom Fury, 100 Algonquin Road. I'm on the board of the Big Brothers. First off, thank you for your consideration. Thank you for your assistance. It's a great organization. I'm not going to go into that. Taylor would have been here tonight, but she's presenting at North Kingstown and just texted me that they gave us approval. So we're going to be like the 23rd community in Rhode Island that's going to be going on this process. As far as giving back, it's a minimal amount. It's not a windfall that you're going to be getting back from these bins. Other towns and communities have dedicated it to a special program, maybe for kids, something like camp scholarships, something that they want to do that normally isn't in your budget, just to give you some ideas. So again, thank you. If you have any questions, that's what I'm here for.
Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Tom.
Anyone?
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. So yeah, I mean, I think that what Catherine said and what Tom mentioned makes sense. And we could have the option to either waive it, just waive it, or if we wanted to earmark it into a special fund for a Narragansett charity, that could be done as well.
Yeah, I think giving it back to the community. It's like,
Right.
I think that's fine.
All right. Okay. Anyone else? Mr. Wojciechowski?
Yeah, let's give the money back to the taxpayer. Come on, I mean, I'd like to see bins all over
Stanley,
the
state
place.
your full name
I'd
and
like
address,
to-
please.
Stanley
Sorry,
Wojciechowski, 1044 Boston Road.
Thank you.
I'd like to see a gazillion of these things so they're never overloaded. So the more the better, actually, you know, that's good to promote giving instead of throwing it in the dump somewhere. I know in my dumpster, I see so many clothes that it looks just too good to throw away. So I'm really for it. And if they give back, I didn't know it, I want to really thank them so much for giving back. And it should come back to the taxpayer who is, let's say, might be suffering some anxiety over it once in a while when they're overloaded. So let's reduce the taxes by the amount of money that they're willing to give us. I want to thank them very much for that. All right?
Thank you, Stanley. Dr. Alba? Please state your full name and address.
Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace. I think the idea of earmarking it for charity is good. Our kids' programs, basketball clinics, or whatever it might be. Stan donates to a scholarship in his name, which I want to thank him, an engineering scholarship. So he gives back. So he knows about giving back. So I was kind of, you know, I think giving back to charity is good, and he knows that too. So I think he might have been being a little facetious up there, coming just saying we need more money to offset our taxes. But because I know he's a very charitable man, our church and everything else. So, but yeah, let's take that money as appropriated to needy kids or needy families. I think that'll be a great gesture. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Okay. Anything else from the council? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved, 5-0. Number 23 is a motion to direct the town manager to explore broadcasting options for zoning and plating committee and planning committee meetings.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
All right, this comes from Councilor Jarzynski.
Yeah, so this motion is pretty straightforward. The zoning and plating and planning committees make very important decisions that do affect our town. So I think a lot of the municipalities already broadcast zoning and planning meetings. So this is just in an effort of transparency. I think it would be great to broadcast these, and it's just really directing, exploring options, and then maybe coming back in a couple of weeks if there's any issues with it or any feedback on it.
All right. Any questions or any comments from the council?
So, obviously it's transparency. People can see the meetings. I think it's great. I just had a couple of questions about, do other cities and towns show their planning and zoning? Is that something that's common practice around the state, or would we be one of the first that do it? Do you guys know? And then, obviously the cost, right? And then it's not just the cost, it's, I don't know who's going to do the actual work, because it's going to require somebody doing the work other than, say, like Dan. So those are the questions I have. I think it's important. I think it's good. It's a good idea, but I think we need to have some of that information before we can decide. And I was curious to see, how the board, the zoning and the planning board would feel as well, because it would have to be in here, right? Would it have to be in this room instead? Because over the years, we did try to move the zoning in here, and they really didn't want to move here. So I'm just curious about, their position on it, how they would feel about it as well.
Yeah.
As well as the public.
All right, anyone else from the council? Yeah, so those are all good questions. I do wonder about the meetings having to be in here. I think that would be the least expensive, at least resource intensive, but it's not ideal in terms of scheduling conflicts. But maybe, ideally they wouldn't have to be in here, and we could do that in the large boardroom. That would be better. But all of that's going to be kind of during the discovery phase, and as this research is done, we'll know better about that. Dan, do you mind coming to the mic? As long as that camera could go without you. So, which is the problem that we're talking about. So Dan, any thoughts on how we would start to go about this process?
Anything other than doing the meetings in this room, we'd have to build out a duplicate, essentially of what we have here in the large boardroom. It'd be an extensive cost in the thousands to do that, as well as staffing it, like Susan said.
One question about that. So this doesn't specify if something's going to be cable, if it's going to be Zoom, if it's going to be YouTube. When we first had COVID, or when it was like April 2020, we had a meeting in the chambers that you couldn't attend it because they were still working out the rules.
Yep.
And I brought my phone and set it up on that camera, and the camera was off. And I just put it on Facebook Live.
Correct.
And streamed it, and people watched it on Facebook. So couldn't we just do something really low tech? Why is that? What's so wrong with that? Why not just have someone with like a...
If we want to do quality, it's going to cost money. It's essentially what it comes down to.
Right. But right now we have nothing.
And yeah, right, correct. Right now we have nothing. Right now we're actually projecting to YouTube Live in full HD. Anybody in the world can watch it right now, except for maybe North Korea. But other than that, anybody can watch it. Our idea is to replicate that if we do it in there to give that same quality that you see on any other YouTube video currently.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yep. All right. Dr. Alba?
Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace. Yeah, I think that's an idea, Jesse, President Jesse Pugh. I think that's, you gave me food for thought, and, we have the committee meetings, and people approached me the other day, there was a committee meeting on the cabanas. They go, oh, how can we check they say, we don't want it vocally, but we would like to just see what's going on. Is it going to be a bidding situation, or are people going to be tenured in who have it, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't have the answer because I couldn't attend. But I guess his program, which is called Vimeo. I think St. Thomas More and St. Veronica's, they have that. Brian Pringles, I think, can put it in place. But I know a lot of our churches has it, and the cost is actually a very nominal cost to do that service. Oh, okay. So in regards to just doing a comparison, and they don't need a cameraman too, I guess, with Vimeo, right? Like when we have daily masses or weekly masses or the funerals, it just goes on, what, they just click a switch or something to that effect?
Somebody would need to start it.
Okay, just to start it? Yeah.
And then move it around if you had to.
Oh, okay. So, but if they're projecting it on the broad base, like when we watch masses online or whatnot, we can hear Father Tyone give his lectures and whatnot, and we get a pretty good sense of what's going on. So, just a consideration. So I figure if the churches can afford it, maybe the town can afford it. I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wojciechowski? Please state your full name and address.
Stan Wojciechowski, 1044 Boston Neck Road. I want to thank you for bringing this up. I brought this up back in 1995, and at that time, I was told, I think it was the planning, one of the boards, planning or zoning, said that they were afraid that people would be afraid to talk if they were on TV or, up there, and they kind of shot it down. So I never got a chance to pursue it at all. But it's a fantastic idea, open government. We need open government. People need to know what's going on. And if just make them come in here. I mean, for cost reasons, they have to come in here, and whether they use the church idea, whatever idea they use, people should be able to listen to the planning and zoning. That's one of the most important things going on in this town. People are interested in what's going on in this town. They don't want to see it in the paper after it's already done. They'd like to see what's going on so they can participate maybe, or they can run down when they see it happen, and they can run down and try to participate. So in order to increase that participation, we need to have that. Those are very important committees, and we must pursue it. We just must get it done no matter what it costs. Minimum cost, we must do it. I want to thank you for that.
Wait a second. What'd you say, Stanley?
At a minimum cost, but we must do that. I'll sacrifice a little bit. A few pennies I'll sacrifice to get this done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stanley.
Stanley, it's nice to see that the age of video and audio hasn't quieted you down. Very nice.
Anyone else from the public? Ms. Celeberto? Please state your full name and address.
Catherine Celeberto, 48 Earls Court. I can't see the point of this unless people can participate. There's no point just sitting there listening to the planning and zoning. They are important boards, and if you're going to broadcast them, I think you should go all out and allow people to participate, whether it's Zoom or I don't know what other systems there are. I just can't see the point of just broadcasting them. Thank you.
Mr. Zonfrillo. Please state your full name and address.
Hi, Paul Zonfrillo, 7 Windward Circle. This is a phenomenal idea. I don't think we should poll the boards and ask if they think it's a good idea. They've been on Zoom, and I can tell you the transparency's been excellent to see these meetings on Zoom. I really respect Dan's commitment to quality, wanting to go out in full HD, full sound. What I would suggest is that we come up with a good, better, best option, right? We need to do this because what's the cost of not doing it, right? I really disagree about, checking around with everybody and, see what they think. It's either a good idea or it's not. And it is a very good idea, but even if you do have to have somebody come, even if you do have to have it be staffed, if you look at some of the most popular podcasts in the world, people who have millions of followers, they do it with a lavalier mic and an iPad. So there can be a good, better, best option. The best for the council, totally agree. But this is a problem that's already been solved with some relatively inexpensive technologies if you don't go with the best option. So I would just encourage that we have a good, better, best option. And it's a great idea.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Okay. The council, any further thoughts? All right.
No, I think it's important, though, for the manager to find some of the information out. I would be curious for other towns and cities, are they doing it? I'd like to see the trends, because I think you make informed decisions is a great idea, but I again want the cost. I want to see, are we the first ones? People have been doing it for a while, so I think it would be important to have that information.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved, 5-0. Number 24 is a motion to discuss various strategies pertaining to Lighthouse Inn property, lots 250, 256, and 257, and determine a possible course of action to be taken by the town.
I'll
we
move
have
the
a-
motion.
Second.
All right, I'm going to let Eva introduce this one.
Yeah, so this is, obviously, we've heard a lot about the Lighthouse Inn property and the steps that have been taken in the past. I just definitely want to say thank you to Dr. Al Alba for his efforts recently with really putting a spotlight on this issue. He did put together a petition, and I looked today, and there were about 1,500 signatures that opposed this moving forward this lease with the Lighthouse Inn and the developer. Just a little bit of background, there was a memorandum of agreement that was signed let me go back. So on 7/23, July 23rd, there was a state properties meeting that took place at 1 p.m. and this was concerning the lease extension for Lighthouse Inn and just the various issues that have come about with the Lighthouse Inn. I found out about 10 a.m. Previously before the meeting that there was a memorandum of agreement. I had not seen it. And I actually found out from a friend who's a developer who was interested in this parcel and in this development and had contacted DM, and DM had provided him with this memorandum of agreement. However, we were all participating, and we were lucky enough to be able to speak at this meeting because normally the public's not allowed to speak at the meeting. So we all spoke. Dr. Alba was there. Susan was on there as well. There were our representatives were on there, and we spoke. And we did stress some of the issues of this memorandum of understanding, particularly of note in here was that during the extension period, which is going to be 180 days, that PRI and DM shall develop and PRI shall solicit redevelopment proposals for all or part of the premises through an RFP process. Well, that just doesn't make sense to have a developer write the RFP for a property that they have. So a lot of us, I actually did have concerns about that, as did one of the members of the State Properties Committee meeting. I did follow up after the meeting, and I sent an email with all the concerns and just reiterating all my thoughts and everything that had been said. And this was a recorded meeting, so we do have the recording. And I should have included the email correspondence to Mary Kay, who is the attorney for DEM. So I did not hear back from her after I had made the recommendations and reiterated the points. And I followed up a week later not having the memorandum of agreement to look at. I did receive it on Friday the 30th. However, when I reviewed it, and it is in our packets, this memorandum of agreement was signed on the 21st by the developer and on the 22nd by DEM. So obviously the meeting that took place on the 23rd, this is already an executed document, which, we're talking about transparency here. And I don't know if this is smoke and mirrors. So this really, really concerns me, the fact that this is how we started off with this memorandum of agreement extending this lease for 180 days. This was already a done deal. Unfortunately, when I looked at the dates, So some of my points were that we should not have the developer write and issue the RFP. Anybody that's seen this or heard about it absolutely agrees. It does not make sense. Actually, at the meeting, the attorney, Mike Vicola, when we had brought up the concern that they were going to write and develop, and we had recommended that DEM or another state agency write and issue the RFP, he actually was in agreement, and that's on record. However, he may have known that this was already executed. So that was a done deal. So that was issue number one with me. So we're running out of time for the lighthouse and property. I want a quality development. I think the whole town does. This council voted unanimously for pursuing a lot of the actions that we have in the past. One of them was to have an investigation by the Attorney General's office. We have not received a written response. It was nice that they entertained us, and we had a meeting there. Jim and I attended, so it was great to have that meeting. However, our concerns have not been addressed in writing and in the packet for the town council agenda. We do have the letter that was written by our previous solicitor requesting, specific recommendations or recommendations and investigation to why the lease was breached and why it was allowed to be breached. So we are, I would like to see that in writing, and I have spoken with our new solicitor, James, and we're going to be requesting that. So secondly, or thirdly, I should say, in the packet, there is the next steps for Galilee Special District Development Plan. And it goes over what our current situation is. And we know that DEM has mismanaged the use of this important parcel. So we know that there's also barriers to development. I'm not going to read the whole redevelopment plan with the next steps. But there is, our IDM does have the lack of visioning and redevelopment know-how. And at the meeting, I did request or did suggest that perhaps if they didn't have the bandwidth to write the RFP, that perhaps our town could, help with it and fund it. And subsequently, after the meeting I did, or prior to the meeting, I submitted RFP language, which I really would hope that they would actually put in their RFP. So those are things that we've been working on. So I came up with maybe six strategies. There could be more, but the ones that I would like to discuss with the council and maybe review and decide on what the next steps should be for this really, really important parcel of land. And this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us to make this right and to get the quality development we deserve. So the first strategy that I addressed in this redevelopment plan for next steps is do nothing. Obviously, that is not what we want to do. We need to do something. The do nothing attitude has occurred, and this is what has led to the blighted Lighthouse Inn, and so we need to take steps now to do something. So what I would like to propose, and I'm hoping that the council also agrees with me, is to conduct a visioning workshop, just getting somebody in that has the experience doing this and conducting a public workshop, because we do want this to be transparent. I would like to hire a special development planning facilitator to outline how the various land uses consistent with the Galilee Special District Plan would be site planned with various massing strategies, schematic budget and site design requirements for most likely or other potential scenarios, which may include but may not be limited to the following, which is 3 different scenarios, such as scenario 1, hotel configuration, park plaza with surface parking. Scenario 2 would be mixed-use housing and retail with a park and surface parking. Scenario 3 would be retail, park, and surface parking. Again, it's not limited to these, but it would actually let us visualize what these would look like. There's also other options in here where I would like to refer tasks to standing committees or create a task force made up of committees with specific asks, such as like the Finance Committee studying potential capital requirements of various development scenarios and model future tax revenue to the town. Identify incentives the town might offer and identify how those incentives may be funded. Economic Development Committee would study potential redevelopment scenarios that may create new jobs and have a positive economic impact on the fishing village. Review land use opportunities that may include single or multiple uses to include hotel, retail, housing, surface structured parking, recreational, and other uses. The Affordable Housing Committee would study the appropriateness of development of housing on a portion of the site, identify any incentives that may be available to create workforce housing. Obviously, we would also include the Galilee Advisory Committee. They've had a role in developing that in Galilee, so if we were to do a task force, they'd be included. So there's definitely specific individuals that would be part of moving forward with this. The other listed ideas for next steps would be, and this might be a far stretch, but petition the state for the town to acquire the land and redevelop the site. Again, I'm going to state that RIDM has mismanaged the existing lease agreement, resulting in a blighted, unsafe condition, and we've all seen it. So that's one of the other options. I'm not going to read through the whole, for the sake of time. Other options are litigate for site control of Galilee parcels. Again, I mentioned previously that the town filed a complaint to the Rhode Island Attorney General requesting an investigation of the lessee's lease defaults. The AG's office held a meeting with representatives from the town but has not offered any written statements, feedback, or action, essentially a silent response. The AG's office has not pursued an investigation into the matter. So potential relief the town might seek includes denial of PRI 10's ability to renew their lease agreement going forward, the town to receive site control and ownership of the parcels, state to require RIDM to meet all local and use regulations to include site design and review by the town of Narragansett. Also looking into an option of seeking legislative intervention and thus solicit the state's legislative delegation to revamp the state statutes. I mean, that's what we can do is actually look for things that we can get tax abatement strategies, tax increment financing, existing tax credit programs, something that would make it more feasible for a developer to invest millions of dollars on leased land. Because, I mean, we all know that that's one of the drawbacks of this parcel and probably why investors don't want to really invest a lot of money because it is leased land. So just looking to get a public-private partnership. So those are some of the ideas that are proposed going forward. I also don't think, again, that RIDM has done a great job managing this property. I would like to see RI Commerce having oversight if that's an option as well. So I'm going to take this opportunity to let the council members share their thoughts and on these ideas and what next steps they would like to take.
All right, thank you, Eva. Discussion, any questions or thoughts from the council?
I have, I'm a little bit confused because I thought that one of the key components, and it hasn't come to pass in the last as long as I've known about the parcel, but that one of the key components of leasing that land was that there had to be something related to the fishing industry. And, you know, I think I saw, you know, the suggestions that you had, but I think we also have to, you know, we also have to be aware of that and do something in relation to the fishing industry.
Correct, but it doesn't have, you can have retail. So this is the Galilee Special District Plan. It does state that it supports the fishing industry, but you can, obviously, if you think about it, workforce housing does support the commercial fishing industry. Retail can also support the fishing industry, so it's very not specific, and I would like to defer to Mike, if he could just speak on that. Mike? I'm sorry, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. So we were talking about the special district plan, and Deb had made a point that it needs to support the commercial fishing industry, and the idea of mixed use perhaps not supporting that.
Yes. To be brief about it, and I don't want to get into a lot of depth, but you may recall that when the Galilee master plan was created, we also created the zoning that went with that. And the zoning on the west side of the road, the wharf side, is primarily Galilee fishing industry. And so everything on that side is intended to be related to the fishing industry, with the exception of the small area dedicated to the ferry.
Right.
On the east side of the road, the zoning is Galilee business, and the ordinance allows for a much wider range of potential uses. Some directly related to fishing are definitely allowed, but others that are more secondarily related to fishing, such as discussed by Councilwoman Trzynski, such as retail and other businesses, can be allowed in the GB area. So it's not, the thought that the entire area has to be fishing or marine-related activities is not absolute. On the eastern side of the road, there's much more flexibility.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Susan?
A lot of, great suggestions. I guess, are you looking for us to pick one, or are there a couple, like the workshop idea? There's a couple of good ideas, so I wasn't sure if you had, there's a lot of suggestions, so what is your preference?
Could I make a motion to amend I was amending the motion that we have, which would be a motion to hire a development planning facilitator and to direct the town staff and other standing committees to evaluate all options and strategies described in the attached document titled Next Steps for the Galilee Special District Redevelopment Plan. This way we can look at all of it and come up with a plan. But first and foremost, I think the visioning workshop would be vital to this whole process. And so we would just hire an individual to come and do the visioning work session.
Okay, so, I co-sponsor this with Eva. I think that there are a lot of good ideas on here. We discussed them. It's a lot to do at once. For me, the one I think would be the first step is, basically what Eva just said, which is that visioning workshop. I think that if we did a motion for that, we would probably want to start with a motion to put out a proposal for that consultant, as opposed to just saying hire, because we need to take bids and get a price of that sort of thing as the first step. So that's kind of where I'm at for that.
Can we do that now, or do we have to?
You mean as an amendment now?
Yeah.
Well, it's on the list. The workshop's on the list.
You're right, the workshop's
So
on
we
the
don't
list.
really
It's just
have to
how we word it.
Yeah.
What does everyone think of that?
I'm sorry?
So it would be a motion to put out basically an RFP for a consultant to hold a visioning workshop. So the idea is that we don't want to hold that as a town. We want to have an expert who does this for a living to run this for the town, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But so instead of saying that the motion is to hire that person, we need to have a better understanding on the price so that we can approve that as a council, and maybe at the next meeting or one after that, as soon as possible, really, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I would be to word it in the way that we would approve the RFP to go out for that consultant.
Yep.
But I don't know, obviously, we're looking for other thoughts as well. That's my thought on it. Councilor Murray, any thoughts?
Yeah, boy, that's a lot. That's a lot. I want to congratulate you on, you're certainly a fly in the ointment of Clark Shanti Group. Congrats. But the problem we have down there is that area is in a flood zone, and it's a VE flood zone, correct, Mike? Yeah, and which is a high velocity, so any living space is going to have to be above the flood stage, correct, Mike?
Yeah.
So whether it be a hotel, workforce housing, or what have you. So that's going to restrict any type of consultant's ideas or plan.
Well, couldn't you build if you were going to do a hotel or residential, wouldn't it be ideal to raise that and then you could actually
Oh, it would definitely have to be raised.
But then you get parking underneath.
The parking would be underneath.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's definitely a must. But what it does, I think there's a certain amount you can have on ground level, retail. I think it was under 5,000 square feet or something. But I mean, some certainly can be done. But my point is that because it's in a high velocity flood zone or close proximity, that it's going to be restricted type of use. It's going to be more expensive to develop.
Right, that's why we're looking for all these other
I
initiatives
think
to
a
make it
workshop's
worth
in
it.
order, and then vet all these ideas out.
Okay.
Before we go to the public, anything else from the council? Okay. Anyone from the public wishing to speak? Dr. Alba? Please state your full name and address.
Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace, Narragansett, Rhode Island. Thank you, Dr. Dzinski. Excellent presentation. Yes, I think time is of the essence. When I sent a bulleted item to the director, and I'm sure he had correspondence with Mary Kay, he sent me a letter stating, "Thank you for your email and thoughts on the future of Galilee. As you know, we are proceeding deliberately with respect to the lease and are requiring the tenant to issue a request for proposals to identify potential options for the property. We adopted this approach in part based on the feedback we received from the town of Narragansett, elected officials, and concerned residents." This is from the director, Terry Gray. So that's a scary situation when he says, "as you know," and he's making a blatantly statement, which is obviously a lie. So I don't know who he's trying to, he's trying to, as you know, I mean, what do I know? I don't know this. I don't know that the town of Narragansett has authorized the tenant to issue requests for proposals. That's not what I know. So I'm a bit frustrated, with the reply. He does go on, "I apologize for my delay, and, I'm a lifelong resident, and, we're trying to make it a resilient impact, et cetera, et cetera." But the whole premise of his presentation is false. So that's frustrating. So I think we definitely have to act, and we can't sit back, because it doesn't appear to me that DEM has the best interest for the village of Galilee. Doing my research, I did a Google search on, wetlands, because I always heard Patrick and Proxine says, "Well, we're going to have to build at a certain height." There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So I reached to this developer. His name is Keith Vanderbilt. And I'd like to, if I may, give each one of you a handout. May I approach the podium to give you each one? Thank you very much. May I have one for you also, Mr. DeLuca? And each of you are welcome to contact him on his cell phone. That's his cell phone number. And he's known for building, properties, and wetlands.
I'm not saying it can't be done. It's just that it raises the expense if you're wiping out the whole floor.
It's a flood zone, not wetlands, right?
Okay, in addition, when I asked him, what's the requirement to have this built, he says you have to have flood barriers. So I reached out with another company, they're in Connecticut. They have these, they're called their flood logs system. When there's an approaching storm, they put these around the perimeter to safeguard it. So they're located in Connecticut, and what I'll do is I'll drop this off later. I got about 40 seconds left, but I'll make sure, I'll give these all to Mr. DeLuca to hand it to each of you. This gentleman will be gladly talk to you about the situation, on how the flood log system works. And he does multi-million-dollar properties throughout the United States. If this was in Galilee, I would do a stay vacation. They're gorgeous. So thank you very much. It can be done. So let's keep up the good fight. United we stand. Thank you all, and thanks for everyone who voted, and continue to vote, please. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else from the public? Mr. Mannix in the back. Please state your full name and address.
Hello, everyone. Matt Mannix, Bonnet Shores. As you know, I served on the council for 8 years and on the Galley Advisory Committee also for 8 years. And one thing that's missing here, the supporting materials and the information talks about potential strategies for the town, and it says that the town did nothing. This has been the strategy since 2017, and later on it says, for nearly 5 years, there's been no intervention by state leaders, congressional delegation, nor the town of Narragansett. But that characterization is not accurate of what happened in the past few years. Initially, October 10th, 2017, we had an initial presentation, and members of the Galley Advisory Committee are here tonight, where Prakashani companies requested an amendment of the lease and permission to demolish the whole building and have parking the whole lot. That's what came before Galley Advisory. We had that on our agenda 4 times in the fall of 2017. The committee was unanimous, Galley Advisory Committee, and recommended that the lease not be amended and the hotel not be demolished, because we all know once it's demolished, we're gonna have a parking lot there, all those spots. So a memo was prepared and sent to the council December 7th, 2017 by the chair of the Galley Advisory Committee about this unanimous recommendation not to amend the lease and not demolish the hotel. People may remember the Friends of Galilee group formed with the acronym FOG. They got very involved. They were grassroots. I know some members of the council were at that initial event, kicking that off at George's back in 2000. I'm not sure what year it was. I think it was 18. And a new proposal came in September 12, 2019. This had 2 retail spaces, outdoor deck area, and a restaurant, 13,770 square feet. That was a result of ongoing discussions between DEM, members of the Galley Advisory Committee, Prakashanti Group over a 2-year period. And when that came before us, when that came before Galley Advisory, they unanimously recommended to proceed with this plan, which also did not expand the number of parking spots. That was the big thing that everybody did not want, was the expansion of parking spots. That was the key. And so over that time period, since 2019, September 2019, this was ready to go. The Galilee Lease Advisory Committee, the town manager and I were at the meeting, we voted to forward that to the State Properties Committee. That's the process that's going through. It was at their doorstep. State Properties Committee, a good proposal. The members of the community liked it. And I would ask Dean Hoxie, who many of you know, and Mary Kay, when is this going to be on an agenda? And then it wasn't. So fast forward, what happened? So fast forward, shortly after the November 2020 election, town manager Jim Tierney informed me that a new proposal had come from Prakashani. Right? So that's what happened. We were so close to having something that we really wanted. And it's just interesting that we had this watered-down new proposal, which has been the source of this year what you guys have been struggling with. That watered-down new proposal came within less than a week or so. Jim informed me, and I told him, I said, I'm leaving the council. I didn't run for reelection. I can't vote on this new watered-down proposal. The new council is going to have to look at this. And but the town council, the Galilee Advisory Committee did work on this quite a bit, and there was a lot that was done. And I want to make sure that we, thank the Galilee Advisory Committee members because they did hold the line to prevent this Dutch Inn property from falling into chaos from 2017 to 2020. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mannix. Ms. Holly? Please state your full name and address.
Janice Holly, 257 Foddering Farm Road, Narragansett. It's nice to see all of you in person rather than on Zoom. I'll begin by saying that I wear a few hats for Narragansett, and the first hat I'll talk about is the Galilee Advisory Committee. I am on the committee, and I was in touch with the president today, and Kevin asked me to say this. The Galilee Advisory Committee totally supports whatever Eva is proposing. So we are completely in support of you, Eva, and we can't begin to say how grateful we are for everything you've done. I also was one of the founders of the Friends of Galilee. As Matt just said, I looked up when our first meeting was. It was on December 27th, 2017. And the reason FOG was formed, we didn't even have a name when we had that first meeting. It was formed because we found out they were going to demolish the Lighthouse Inn. And there are now, I don't know how many members, maybe there's over 200, I'm sure. I was very, very disappointed to learn that they extended the lease. I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. I feel like FOG and everyone who loves Galilee is David fighting Goliath. And I think with your help, Eva, and the town council, we just might win. But it's been a terrible fight for 4 years. FOG did send a letter to all of you, and I would like to, I don't know if that letter is going to be put into the meeting tonight, but I read it. Eva, you've read the letter, and there are some suggestions. So I hope you can either read it to the public and to those listening on YouTube and see what the Friends of Galilee have to say. The Friends of Galilee had workshops. They have a list a mile long of what the people thought would be good there. But I do think you're right. I think we have to do it in a very professional way. I want to tell you that I took a ride down to Galilee the other day in the heat and humidity we had last week. I noticed the Lighthouse Inn, of course, is completely fenced in as close to the inn as they could get it. And I drove my car as if I was going to park there. And I drove up to what's I would call a shack. I took a picture of it. It's very ugly little shack. There's one on either side. And there were two young girls in the shack, attendants. And I asked them about how many cars are in this parking lot. And they said, oh, maybe 200 to 300. Well, I took pictures and I sent them to Eva and I sent them to the people in FOG. those cars were parked on 3 sides of the Lighthouse Inn. They weren't, nothing was parked in the front, maybe 8 cars. They must be very special people because I'm sure they didn't have to pay anything. But if there were 200 or 300 cars in there at $10 a car during the week and $15 a car on the weekends, I mean, add that up. Then someone told me it's called the Lighthouse Inn parking lot. It already has a name, the Lighthouse Inn parking lot. So Prashkanti has his parking lot. And now that it's been extended, they're earning that money for the next 6 months. I asked the girls how many, who was the company you work for? They said it's called 365. And on the sign it does say 365, so I guess there's Prashkanti has named it that, or has a lot of little offshoots of parking lots that are called 365. I came back a couple of days later, and there was a young man as an attendant, and he told me that he works until 9 o'clock at night. And I said, and who's in the parking lot after 9 o'clock? And he said, no one. So, I mean, there's no gate, I wouldn't park my car in there.
Thank you, Mrs. Holly. We're going to move on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Zanfrillo? Please state your full name and address.
Hi, Paul Zanfrillo, 7 Wynwood Circle. If you had bought Bitcoin in 2011, it would have been $1. If you spent $1,000 on Bitcoin in 2011, you'd have $45 million today. That's what's called an asymmetrical investment. You know, you place a bet on something that could have huge upside. That's what Galilee is about. That's what Eva's proposal is about, is having a potential huge upside, right? Because everybody says, geez, I wish I could have gotten in when it was cheap. Well, it's cheap right now, and in 40 years, I'm wondering, what am I going to tell my grandkids if I make it 40 years, right? What am I going to tell my grandkids, like, will there be a parking lot there? Actually, people won't be parking. The cars will be parking themselves somewhere else, probably in about 10 years. So that use is going off into the sunset. You know, so what Eva had proposed was, I'm just going to look here at the visioning workshop, the petition to acquire and develop, litigate, and seek legislative intervention. Those are all really small bets right now. That's like the dollar for the Bitcoin. And you guys should go all in. You should pursue all of these opportunities because the upside is just tremendous for Galilee. And as far as the visioning workshop, that should be the top priority. As you may know, as you guys know, I'm the chair of the EDC. We had a speaker come, and Councilor Kopech was there, to talk about the blue economy. And the blue economy, it was a real eye-opener. There are all sorts of things that can be done that the visioning workshop would really lend some, give you some good perspective. So one of the things we learned at the EDC was that the defense industry is a huge part of the blue economy, right? And Charles River Associates is building drones, marine drones. And that's actually being done in Narragansett. So just office space up there. And the implication, for example, of having a marine drone, like is instead of the Endeavor, you think of the Endeavor having this huge slip. What we were told from the EDC, the Department of Commerce representative who came to show us was that those large ships, a lot of the support on the large ships is for humans. So now smaller ships can dock. And so Galilee could be reimagined not just for the $90 million fishing industry, but for high tech and a lot of other industries. So please go all in for that asymmetrical investment, because everybody wishes they could have bought the stock when it was dirt cheap, and this is your opportunity.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Oh, yep, in the back. Please state your full name and address.
Elizabeth Danaker Del Gizzo, 102 Riverdale, Saunderstown, Narragansett, whatever. I agree with, the three people, yourself, Mr. Jasinski, is that how you pronounce it? Okay. Well, anyway, I agree. I think Galilee is our pot of gold here in Narragansett. And I don't want to see the town of Narragansett mess up with this, like they did with our town with Gilbane back 30 years, was it 30 years ago or whatever? We lost our town because of that. Let's not lose this pot of gold we have in Galilee and I don't know what our legal rights are here as far as the town goes, as far as allowing them to just extend these leases, so on and so forth. Again, we need to really be on top of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All right, let's go back to council discussion. Deb or Susan, any thoughts?
I think we just have to create the motion that we want for the visioning.
The visioning, right.
Right.
Well, so I just want to be clear, based on the motion, we can't actually vote to approve anything tonight, but we can come to a consensus and then put that on next meeting, knowing that we have a consensus and likely approval, because just the wording of it is just discuss and determine, so we can't vote to approve.
Approve the work session, like you mean the visioning?
Well, because it's not in the motion, so like, that's how we typically do it. James, if you want to chime in, you can tell me if that's...
All right.
I think you can come to some kind of consensus of what you'd like to see in the next meeting, and at that point, decide on a direction.
So
it's the language of that.
Right, it's just the language, because when you put out the agenda, then basically the public is expecting a certain outcome. And since we didn't put the wording to approve, the public would think we're just discussing.
I see.
Yeah, so Eva, you can come back with a motion for the next meeting saying that we want to have a visionary workshop to include, and then put that in there.
Okay, so we basically have only a couple months. Every time we wait 2 weeks, that's why I was hoping, I guess I should have worded that we were going to discuss and maybe discuss and then come up with a motion or amend. Can we amend this motion, James? Like we can't, because we said discuss, we can't make a motion to, because we just discussed it now, put it in an RFP. Like, I think at a minimum, I think we all agree that we need the visioning workshop, and what we need to do is get some individuals, like some companies or people who do this, to submit a proposal. And I was hoping that at the next meeting, we would be able to hire somebody with some of the, if we put out the RFP and get the costs for it. So that was kind of, I wish I thought we could do that.
Discuss, so we did that, and I think, Eva, you have an idea of where we're coming from.
Okay.
So the next meeting, you can just have a motion to approve a visionary workshop that would include, and just put it in.
So what I would say, in order, because I understand what you're saying with time, so you know that the council has a consensus that they basically approve it, in essence, without voting. You could work on your own
Okay.
to actually work on that RFP with staff. You could do whatever you want with staff.
Yeah.
And if that's ready, we could then vote on it, and it could be basically advertised right after the meeting. So you're kind of like not going to lose much time.
All right.
Does that make sense?
But could you also like get quotes and then bring it to the council, and or no?
We can't do it as a council because
Okay.
we're not approving that.
you'll be all ready for it, like,
All right, all
almost
right.
immediately.
All right. Okay, we're gonna pounce on it.
Okay?
All right, I got it.
I know, it's disappointing. I don't know how we can do it any other way.
So, but yeah, so, I mean, there's no action
Right.
tonight. Are there any additional thoughts?
Nice job.
Okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
All right, thank you. All right, so number 25 is a motion to schedule public interviews for an open planning board seat. Is there a motion?
I'll move the motion.
Second.
All right, sorry, I've lost my agenda. Let me just get this.
Did you have a date? You gotta do this.
Okay, so I put this up. It's just a follow-up to our last meeting when we all basically agreed that we would like to conduct the interview. The date that I'm recommending is September 7th at 6 p.m., which would give us an hour and a half before the regular meeting.
September 7th.
Oh, yeah, 7th, sorry, yeah. It says,
I can't hear you.
no, I think, I don't know if I said 6th or not, but
7th?
September 7th. The 6th is Labor Day. So this would be the Tuesday after Labor Day. And it would be an hour and a half before our regularly scheduled meeting, which would give us some time. The only thing I wanted to discuss with you all before we vote on this is we have over like 15 applications in, which would make this pretty tight. We voted to approve the concept of interviewing. However, that's something that we're doing. It's not mandated. We're just doing that. It's also not mandated that we interview everybody that's on file.
Well,
We
aren't
can,
a
or we.
couple of them already on boards too? Or boards or commissions? Or
Some people are already on boards. However, they may say that they would leave one board to do planning because they may prefer planning.
But in the boards and commissions, it does say you may interview for the zoning and planning.
Yes, you may. We decided that we would. My question is, do we want to interview everyone, or do we want to have basically every council member send their applicants of choice to Janet, and then we schedule those?
Fine.
We can do that. It's fine.
Is that fine? What do you guys think?
So with the members that are presently on and serving now, you want to interview them as well?
No, what I'm saying is, well, we can discuss that too. What I'm saying is there are 15 applications on file. These are people not on planning and zoning.
Right.
Do we want to interview everyone, or do we want to choose our favorites individually and make a smaller list? Because 15 is a lot to do,
Yeah, we have
There are-
to
there
narrow
are-
the list down, I would say.
right?
Yeah.
Because there's no requirement that we interview everyone.
Right, yeah. So we can,
Janet has a.
There are 17 applications currently on file.
17 applications on file right now.
17
Right.
on file.
Okay. Right. So
Other committees or something.
So everyone will send their favorites to the clerk. She'll compile that and contact the applicant.
Yes.
I just had one question. How many openings are there for planning?
One.
Now, don't we have a guy that's in place now?
Yes.
And he's not term limited out?
He did a term and a half, but we approved the scheduling last meeting.
I know, but the problem is, if we start, I'm going to make this point again, if we start replacing people who are on committees who want to do another term, why would anybody volunteer for a committee?
Well, there's no guarantee that you're going to get 2 terms when you're on a
Yeah,
committee.
well, they used to, I mean, if somebody's doing a good job, and this current committeeman, Lignan, whatever his last name is, how do you pronounce it, but it appears to me, he shows up, he knows the material, and he's been doing a good job. I just don't see why we're seeking, somebody else to replace him.
Well-
And interviewing people when we got a guy who's willing to serve another term.
So this is a motion to schedule because we had this discussion 2 weeks ago.
All right, well, I just wanted to make that point.
Thank you. But also, you have the option to not send any names to Janet if you want, and that'll narrow down the pool.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Deb?
I might be wrong about this, but I thought, because it was a few weeks ago, so I have no memory anymore, but I thought a couple of the people who were on that list were actually aging out in terms of their 2 years. So it might be a few fewer than that, or am I wrong about that?
So we contact them, and if they
Oh,
want to
okay.
keep their application on file, they have the option to update it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there were a few that.
I was just trying to help.
So we can either send Janet no names if we're interested in continuing with the same person, Don. And if we like somebody or we want to have an interview, we'll submit the names to the clerk. By when should we do that?
Sometime this week, right?
Would you like it like by the end of the week?
You can to schedule for the 7th. I'm on vacation. Good for you.
Good for you.
Good for you, we're happy for you. So when should we do that? When you get back? Next week?
So next week.
Okay.
Okay.
By Monday?
I can email you all the current applications that are on file so that you'll have them.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, so this would be to schedule for 6 PM, September 7th. Any one from the public wishing to speak? Okay, any last comments from the council? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion approved, 4-1. And that does it for this evening. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Second. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.